Hey everyone, and welcome to the Vaginal Healing Podcast. My name is Akira, and I'm a dietitian that helps women to heal from chronic vaginal infections. If you've been following me for a while, you previously probably listened to my last podcast, the Manifesting It Girl podcast. I have since deleted that podcast because I no longer felt in alignment with talking about manifestation so much. I do practice it on a daily basis consciously, but educating it just does not feel in alignment with me. It's kind of exhausting teaching people manifestation. Nutrition is more natural for me to teach because I'm a dietitian and I love talking about nutrition and I love talking about women's health and teaching women how to heal their bodies and not be stuck in chronic cycles of diseases and reoccurring vaginal infections and being on a whole bunch of medications that are not working and are making conditions worse. So I have a very holistic approach. I'm very spiritually led. I'm very intuitive. I'm very big into feminine energy healing. I just love anything that has to do with law of assumption, law of attraction, manifestation. What else? Spirituality, holistic healing, functional nutrition, you having the power, quantum leaping, all these topics that you think I would be into, I am most likely into it or I've heard of it and I'm familiar with it, as long as it's in relation to whatever I just mentioned. So, this podcast is not going to only focus on manifestation, that's going to be a part of it, but we're mainly going to be talking about how to heal your recurring vaginal infection. So, I only focus on recurring vaginal infections. I don't focus on pelvic floor issues like prolapse and vaginismus and those types of things. I don't necessarily focus heavily on urinary issues either. I do help people that have urinary issues, but I mainly focus on women who are stuck in cycles of yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, cytolytic vaginosis, aerobic vaginitis, women who also deal with vulvar issues, random pH imbalances, mycoplasma, ureaplasma. And these are the things that I focus on specifically. So if you want a more detailed focus on urinary health, or if you want a more detailed focus on like more pelvic floor health, that's going to be on a different podcast. But I'm going to be teaching women who have been stuck in recurring cycles of these infections for years how to heal with nutrition, holistic nutrition, because I focus on eating whole foods and making things balanced and focus on nutrition by addition versus you thinking you have to follow a diet and follow all these restricted protocols to heal your vagina, because that's not true. It actually can usually do the opposite effect of what you think it's doing. So I focus on how to teach you how to eat balanced meals without you eliminating a whole bunch of stuff. So nutrition by addition. I also teach people how to reprogram their subconscious mind to support their body in healing, because a lot of what's missing in people's healing is the mindset work. So subconscious reprogramming, I'm going to be talking a lot about the subconscious mind, how it operates, how it dictates majority of our lives, and how we can reprogram it to help us heal our bodies. With this comes the talk about mindset work and identity work, because we need these things in order to heal. Because if you have a really poor identity and you have the identity of someone who is unhealthy, someone who deals with chronic vaginal infection, someone who has a hard time with their health, someone who struggles in their life, you're going to have a very hard time healing your recurring vaginal infections with a really poor identity. So we're talking a lot about subconscious reprogramming, mindset work, identity work, and nervous system regulation, because your nervous system plays a huge role in your healing, because stress depletes your mineral stores. Your minerals are the foundation of your health. They're the foundation of your cellular health, your metabolic health. And if any of these are out of whack because your minerals have been depleted because of stress, not just stress, but also medications, then you're always going to be stuck in a cycle of chronic vaginal infections and other health conditions as well. And stress also causes low grade inflammation because it leaves you in a sympathetic activated state, which is you having chronically high cortisol all the time that keeps you in survival mode, aka fight or flight mode. So, nervous system regulation is going to be a really big part of what this podcast is also about, because if you panic at the sight of any symptom, you're going to continuously manifest that into your reality. So, this podcast is combining mainly those three things: mindset work, which you can kind of branch that into subconscious reprogramming and identity work, nutrition, and nervous system regulation. I'm going to be posting episodes intuitively, so I may post once a week, I may post more than once a week, I may post um, every 2 weeks. It's just going to come and go whenever I feel called to post. But that's basically what this podcast is going to be about. So if you ever have any questions or you want me to cover a certain topic or anything, always feel free to reach out to me on any of my platforms at vaghealingnutrition.rd. I am on YouTube at Vaginal Health Dietitian, but if you just go to my link tree, which will be down below, you'll find the link to all of my social platforms, to all of my services, to all of my products, and to my email, which is vitamindsllc@gmail.com. So that's pretty much all I have for this intro episode. Or maybe I can actually probably go into my own personal story of recurring vaginal infections. But I do have a full story of my own history with recurring vaginal infections. It's on my YouTube channel in my vaginal education playlist. So if you want my full story, you can go there. But I'll touch on it briefly here. So I dealt with recurring vaginal infections twice in my life. Both times it lasted 2 years. The first time it was yeast infections that turned into mycoplasma and ureaplasma. The second time it was a yeast infection that branched off into bacterial vaginosis that I dealt with for another 2 years. The first time I healed, it took me about 3 months because I was focusing mainly only on nutrition and I didn't have a more positive approach on nutrition. I was more so focusing on restrictive dieting and fasting and excessive exercising and all these toxic nutritional ways of being, which at the time did it help? Did it work? Yes, because I believed at the time that this is what I have to do to heal. So my body had no choice but to heal. The body is naturally designed to heal itself anyway. So whatever you do, if you believe in it, it's going to work for your body. That's a placebo effect. This time around, I knew about the power of the subconscious mind. I knew about mindset work, identity work, subconscious reprogramming. So I focused mainly on that was my mindset work. That was my main priority. I listened to my own vaginal healing subliminals and affirmation tracks and sleep tapes, which we'll talk about in future episodes as to what those are. But I saturated my mind with those things to help me change my identity to be a woman who knows that she is healthy and does not deal with vaginal infections that don't even exist in her reality. Because how is that possible? She is healthy. I completely transformed my identity and saturated my subconscious mind with the fact that I am a healthy person that does not deal with vaginal infections. And so, because of that, I felt intuitively led to do a test with a company called Evie, which is an at-home vaginal microbiome testing company that tests for over 700 microbes that your normal GYN does not test for. And so I intuitively decided to take a test with Evie. It told me a whole entire breakdown of my vaginal microbiome, which if you want to do a test with Evie, I do have a link that you can use to purchase the test and get $20 off of your first order. And so because of the Evie test, I saw a breakdown of my vagina, what is going on, and I had high levels of opportunistic bacteria such as Gardnerella, Prevotella, all of which were causing me to have reoccurring BV on and off for 2 years. Because my mindset was so already intact that I am a healthy person and that my vagina is healed, I put myself on my own supplement protocol, and I already eat a healthy diet, so for me, diet wasn't an issue. Within a week of me taking the supplements, within 7 days, my vaginal symptoms completely cleared up. It happened fast because my mindset was already on board. The issue is that a lot of women, they try to do different things. They try different diets, different remedies. They try cutting out things. They try fasting. They try doing a whole bunch of different things with the identity that they have poor health, that they don't know what to do, that their body is against them, that their body is broken, that their vagina is broken. You can try all the things in the world, but if your identity is the opposite of what you're trying to do, you're always going to go back to your identity because that's what all of your subconscious knows. That's why identity work and mindset work is extremely important when it comes to healing chronic vaginal infections and any health condition because your behavior precedes your identity. I hope I'm saying that in the correct order. So basically, your behavior is natural when your identity is in alignment with it. So that's why it's extremely important. So for me, after dealing with BV on and off for 2 years, I was in survival mode, struggling, dealing with really weird odor, discharge, burning, painful sex, all these things. Those symptoms cleared up, I swear to you, in 7 days because my mindset was so on board with me being healed. And I was done with the cycle of recurring vaginal infections. I was like, this is my body. I have power over it. I'm not going to let my vagina and my body have power over me because I'm the authority of my reality. I am the source of my health. I am the person who is healthy. So that is basically what I did to heal. There's more details on my YouTube channel. And I also do make my own subliminals, affirmation tracks, and sleep tapes on my YouTube channel. So you can listen to the ones that I use on there as well to get your mindset in track. So I will end the podcast episode here. Definitely follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple if you deal with recurring vaginal infections and you want to learn how to heal naturally without strict dieting, without medications, without constantly going back and forth to doctors' offices, not getting an answer. Because everything that I'm going to be teaching you here is going to be everything that you need to heal. And there's ways to work with me in my link tree, whether that's a one-to-one call, you being in my Patreon membership, or joining the Vag Reset program. You choose whatever you feel the most called to do, and I'm going to be here to support you. So stay tuned for the next episode, and I will see you all then. Bye, everyone.